I'm going to start sharing my screen, and I'm going to bring it so they can see the first picture. And all we need to do is to just talk about them. You can help me, can't you, Amanda, with asking each other questions and discussing what's more.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah.
What's happening in this picture?
Basically, someone's ill in bed, and they got a lot of equipment around them, and they're wearing a mask. And it could be that the poor thing's got COVID.
I'm going to call her Lucy, because we always think of names. And she's having her blood pressure checked, but she doesn't look very happy because she's not feeling very well, because she's got the face mask on her and she's having problems breathing as well. But it might be difficult because if she's by herself, and she's scared, frightened, anxious, nervous, and if nobody's explaining to her, it's a very scary thing.
If it's COVID, if she's got COVID, then they're not going to be able to visit.
I think we just have to wait and see what's going to happen in the rest of the story. Before we
I've put the next picture up, Amanda, so you can see what happens next.
Next, there's a nurse, and she's wearing a mask, and she's got PPE on, and she's checking to see if everything is okay, because she's asleep. She doesn't look very happy.
Amanda?
Yeah.
I'm wondering whether because I don't think she's alive. I think she's died. And you can see the drip. It's not next to her. And the nurse is pulling up the sheet.
Yeah.
So I think she has died.
Yes, you're right. It does look. Yeah, she's and she looks very pale as well. She doesn't look like she's very well.
Yeah.
Vince, you're nodding as well. I can see you nodding. You can keep your microphone unmuted, Vince. That's okay.
Okay, I didn't know whether it was just for Pat and Amanda, you say. So, yeah, and obviously that picture clearly states to me that sadly the patient has died. You know,
yeah,
it's really upsetting to see. Really, it's amazing the emotional effect it can have on you. Really, it's you know, the power of the pictures. It's amazing, you know, how it can affect you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is that a good thing, Vince, or a bad thing, or that looking at pictures makes you feel these emotions?
Well, I think it helps you, it makes you aware, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm just wondering whether this, and do you think this picture is really what it's like, you know? So if it's their mum, for example, that boy that is holding his legs, if it's his mum, do you think this is what it's like in real life, that people feel like this?
That they've been feeling shocked, upset, and they won't be able to take it in for a very long time what's happened. It would take them a long time to get over it, I think.
Yeah, and also I think I reckon people do react differently. People definitely, people do react differently to a bereavement. Some people show it. Some people show it very much. Some people not so much. But they feel it inside. But if you're not so met with it outside.
I remember when you know, when my dad was very ill, and they weren't sure what it was, and then when he got the diagnosis of lung cancer, but before we got the diagnosis, every time people asked me, "How's your dad?" I would burst out crying. But once we knew what he got, it, you know, I just sort of, I was more concerned about my mum, and how she would handle it. So, you know, it's really, really difficult, because I think you can be lucky in death. I have been, in the sense of the I when I know that someone's very, very ill, uh, I and then we know what it is that they've got, I can actually I I don't grieve like that. I grieve before, if we don't know what they've got, then, you know, then I'm very, very upset and stuff. When my brother died, we knew what it was. You know, and when my mum died, we knew, you know, that was coming. In fact, she lived 6 months longer than the doctor said she did. So I think it, as Peter said, people grieve in different ways, I think. You know, and it's very difficult like that, because, you know, people can often think you're not grieving at all, because if you don't show you're very, very, very sad, then you're considered to be a heartless person. But not everybody grieves like that. I heard a story about a young woman who got I can't remember which relative it was, but a relative died, and all she did was put herself in the toilet and laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh until she couldn't laugh anymore. Now, that to some people would be very, very, very heartless, but for her, that's the way she dealt with it. And it's like what Peter said, that people deal with it in different ways, and we have to accept that.
Pat, what do other people think about what Pat has just said?
That's a good way of describing it, because we've all got different emotions, and none of us are the same. We all
it's what going back to what I was saying earlier. If people are different and they react differently to everyone else.
Yeah, I agree with what Pat said as well. People do grieve in different ways.
Yeah, I agree as well.
Say that again, Peter.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. People have different ways of reacting to certain things.
So what makes you say that? I mean, because Pat was also saying that, you know, sometimes other people don't understand the way you react.
The thing is, we react a certain way. They might think it's something else that they don't understand.
Does anybody want to say anything else about this before, or shall we look at the next picture? Vince, I can see you thinking, I can see your brain going.
You know, it's yeah, I suppose we just all grieve in different ways.
Okay.
It takes some people longer to get over it than others, maybe. I'm not sure.
I think it, you know, I think it's hard and for people. I think it's hard for everybody because, you know, death is awkward, and I think, you know, we, you know, I mean, we don't like talking about it. I think I do. I don't mind, and I can, you know, I can actually talk about it. Yeah, and I can get upset, but I can actually bring myself back to where I am, because I think, you know, but not everybody can do that. But, you know, it's very, very important that people with learning disabilities know about death and dying, because it's going to happen. You know, we're going to lose people around us as they get older. So it's really, really important that we're seen as just another sector of society. Sorry, maybe that's a big word. We're just part of society. We happen to have a learning disability. So why other people, you know about death and dying, we don't. No one likes talking about it, I think. But some people do don't mind talking about it. But I don't mind talking about it. But it does get you upset, and you know, I can actually bring myself out of that and carry on with what I'm doing. But people with learning disabilities need to know about death and dying, and group homes should actually work with people in their setting, in their homes, around that, about talking about that and support, because people do die, and young people die as well. So it's not expected for them to die. So when somebody's not there in the group home anymore, you know, it doesn't matter how severe someone's learning disability is, they're going to wonder what's happened. They're going to look, you know, they don't understand what's happened to that person. So it's really, really important that, you know, people are aware. The person who's dying needs to be aware, and you know, the people that live with them need to be aware, because otherwise they're going to have great problems afterwards.
Yeah. Anybody else want to say anything about what Pat's just said? Vince?
I think it's for parents particularly, you know, if they've like lost a child or something, I think that's probably one of the most heartbreaking situations that parents have to go through, because they don't expect to say goodbye to their children, you know, because we've always, we've always presumed that you know, the parents die before the children, but sometimes it's not always that way around, is it? You know, and I mean, how old am I now? 34. Sometimes I can't believe that people younger than myself died, you know what I mean? So, and I think to myself, well, you know, I've got to the age of 34 and I'm still here, but some people in their 20s have died, or in their teens, and it's like, you know, it's absolutely shocking, isn't it? You know, but so there's a child, I think, you know, that would probably be, you know, the worst upsetting scenario for any parent to have to go through.
But things, what happens if it's the other way round, and you use your parents when you're a child?
Yeah.
Do you
Because
say a bit more about that?
that's what happened to me. I never knew my dad because he died when I was 1 year old. And then I lost my mum when I was 13 years old to cancer.
Sorry to hear that.
It's okay.
It's all right.
It's all right.
So, yeah.
But it's just sometimes little things just bring back horrible memories. Because I'm gonna be honest, I was in care until I moved in this flat in 2004. I was in care from when my mum died at 13 years old, and I didn't have a good time in care. It wasn't that easy, but I cope with it.
I'm just wondering what helps, you know, when you're feeling it, because we've seen these people here. Look at them. They really, you know, they're really upset, aren't they, and sad.
Yeah, sad.
And everything.
Despondent.
Yeah.
What do you think would help them?
To think of the good things and the good times they had together.
Yeah.
Think of the good memories they had together.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah, I think support, you know, because the next picture you went on to, it showed somebody who'd actually lost somebody and was talking to someone. That's it. And she's obviously she's lost someone and she's talking to somebody. You know, I think that I think that's good, but I think we don't know because it doesn't show it in the picture, but it to my way of thinking, it would be much better to talk with people before it happens, you know, and prepare people and that, because I was talking a lot about that before I froze, so I don't know what other people think about that one.
Yeah, I suppose you could talk about it. Think about the good times, and also talk about it. Talk about it so that you get it off your chest. Isn't it?
Yeah. Amanda, what do you think?
I agree. I agree with you. It's good. It's good to talk about things and not bottle it up. Especially at the moment, the way everybody's feeling and it's miserable and the weather's horrible and you can't go out. So it's good to think of positive things because we can't change what's happening. We just have to get on with it until we get the vaccine.
But that won't stop people from. Sorry, I'll rephrase that because I need to say that so people will understand. Okay, once the vaccine is out there, and it is out there, once everybody's been vaccinated, that doesn't mean that they necessarily die of COVID, right? The people will die. So it doesn't stop people from dying because we get old, and it's not just older people who are dying. We get other illnesses like cancer, and dementia and stuff like that. So people may not necessarily die with COVID, but that doesn't stop people from dying.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Because might die for other reasons.
Yeah.
Pat, thank you very much for joining us and for the things you've said. All right. Are you happy with us, with everything you said? You don't want us, there's nothing that you've said that you want us to cut out?
No.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so So I have to go as well.
All right, okay. Then
Okay.
see you again then, Peter.
See you again.
See you, Pete.
See you, Vince. See you, Becky.
See you. Take care.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
I can stay.
You can stay a bit longer. Good, Vince, because I want to ask you a few more questions, because usually you haven't really used these sort of pictures before.
No, it's the first time.
So, I'm just interested because, you know, sometimes, as you said earlier, when you see these pictures, it sort of gets sometimes it gets straight into your heart, doesn't it? These kind of things. I'm just wondering what it's like for you this morning.
It does. It certainly does with me, but I'm sort of like that. I'm very sensitive inside anyway, so it's very easy for something like that to pull on my heartstrings, if you know what I mean. So whereas some other people might not be too affected by it, but you know. But I think the more sensitive you are inside anyway as an individual, I think this sort of thing can quite easily affect your emotions, really, and that's
right. And I'm just wondering whether this kind of thing, just of looking at pictures and talking about it, is that something that you think would help other people with learning disabilities? Or do you think it's better not, you know, to completely not talk about it and ignore it and leave people alone?
No, it's good to talk about it, because it's important that we talk about it, because it's a part of life, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
it may help. It may help them understand about what has actually happened. You know, but they might still have their own. You know, they might still believe that you know they've ground their wings and they've flown away. You know what I mean, to heaven or wherever it is. You know they go to. Which is nice to still believe in that sort of thing, I suppose. But if we can make them like understand, I think as well, it might just you know might just help them understand a bit better, maybe.
But said pictures might be able to help people understand a bit better what's happening.
Yeah. I think so, yeah. If somebody like perhaps goes through them with, you know, goes through the pictures with them, yeah.
I enjoy listening. I enjoy going through the pictures with other people and helping them if they have problems with grief or somebody in their families just died. It does help.
I'm just wondering, because the people watching this webinar, they will be wondering, oh, I wonder whether I could use those pictures or do something like this. What would you say to them?
I would say to them that everybody is different and they should try and use the pictures and see if that helps the person that they're trying to communicate to. And if it doesn't work, then they might try something a different way. But I know for lots of people, the pictures really, really, really help. And then they can talk about how they feel. That point to the picture and say, yes, this is how I'm feeling, or rather than because sometimes it's difficult to say how you feel because you don't know how the person's going to react. But if you have the picture in front of you, then you can relate to the pictures and how the people are feeling.
Okay. Actually, that's all been really, really good.
I think Amanda pretty much covered it all really there, I think. Yeah.